an AI-driven leak monitoring system to protect our race from methane exposure. Plastics made from oil or oil made from plastics, the most credible breakthrough in plastic recycling since the 1970s. The Rio Grande Valley smells a future of exporting monumental amounts of natural gas. Let's get tapped in and break down the story. What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Crude Tube, the pipeline supplying must-know news and events from the energy sector. Today is Wednesday, April 8th, 2026. Crude is trading about $95 a barrel, and today we talk artificial things, natural things, and the things in between these things. Let's see what's happening. Topic 1. A major methane reduction milestone. A consortium of oil majors announced successful deployment of a new AI-driven leak detection system in the Permian Basin, cutting methane emissions by over 40% at participating sites. In what is being hailed as one of the most consequential operational breakthroughs for natural gas producers in the past decade, Permian Basin operators have successfully completed the first large-scale, real-world deployment of an advanced artificial intelligence-driven leak detection and repair system across approximately 1,200 active wells throughout the Delaware and Midland basins of West Texas and southern New Mexico, achieving a verified 42% reduction in methane emissions across participating sites within just 90 days of full system activation. A Houston-based startup spent the last 4 years training neural networks on over 15 million images of equipment leaks and component failures. Their technology represents a radical departure from traditional leak detection methods, which have historically relied on either monthly surveying performed by technicians carrying handheld infrared cameras or periodic flyovers using helicopter-mounted sensors that cost tens of thousands of dollars per day and often miss leaks that occur in between inspection cycles. The new AI-driven system instead operates on a continuous, distributed sensing architecture. Each participating site has been retrofitted with a mesh network of low-cost, solar-powered sensors that monitor pressure differentials, ultrasonic signatures, and volatile organic compound concentrations at every flange, valve, hatch, and fitting across the facility's processing infrastructure, with the sensors feeding data in real time to cloud-based machine learning models that can distinguish between normal operational variations and abnormal emission events that require immediate intervention. The system's predictive capability is truly revolutionary. The algorithms have learned to identify subtle precursors that precede equipment failures, such as microscopic changes in valve stem vibration frequency or gradual degradation in gasket compression, allowing operators to proactively replace or repair components during scheduled maintenance rather than waiting for a catastrophic failure or an emissions event. During the pilot program, the system triggered 4,200 immediate action and predictive warnings during its first 3 months of full deployment that enabled operators to prevent potential leaks before they occurred by tightening fittings or replacing worn seals. This scale of emissions reduction translates to roughly 380,000 metric tons of methane saved from atmospheric release on an annualized basis, which is equivalent to removing approximately 2.8 million gasoline-powered cars from the road for 1 year, or the same climate benefit as planting 60 million new trees and letting them grow for a decade. They plan to open source the core sensor design and release training to the public through a partnership with the University of Texas at Austin's Energy Institute, allowing smaller independent operators who collectively own approximately 60% of Permian Basin wells to build their own low-cost detection networks. For the engineers that actually built and deployed the system, the most satisfying validation comes from the irrefutable numbers on their display. Each time the AI flagged a leaking valve, the system automatically calculated the exact volume of methane escaping, the precise GPS coordinates of the leak, and the cumulative climate impact in real time, turning an invisible, odorless problem into something measurable, manageable, and fixable. Whether this breakthrough translates into basin-wide transformation will depend on how quickly the open-source tools are adopted in
the future.
Topic 2. Breakthrough recycling tech. A European energy firm unveiled a pilot process that turns used plastic waste back into crude-like oil at 30% lower energy cost. The announcement represents a paradigm shift in the global fight against plastic pollution, offering an economically viable pathway to close the loop on one of humanity's most persistent waste streams. At its core, this pilot process efficiently and cost-effectively converts used, mixed, and often contaminated plastic waste, the kind that currently ends up in landfills, incinerators, or the ocean, back into a high-quality, crude-like oil that can be fed directly into existing petroleum refineries to produce virgin-grade plastics or fuels. What sets this innovation apart from conventional chemical recycling methods is a proprietary catalytic depolymerization system that operates at significantly lower temperatures and pressures, thereby slashing the energy input required by a remarkable 30%. To put that in perspective, traditional mechanical recycling struggles with degraded polymers and cannot handle multi-layer packaging, dyed plastics, or food-contaminated containers, and standard pyrolysis often requires extreme heat and yields a low-grade, high-sulfur oil that needs extensive further refining. This new process, however, reportedly uses a reusable catalyst that selectively breaks long polymer chains, polyethylene, polypropylene, polystyrene, and even PET, into short-chain hydrocarbons at roughly 280 to 320 degrees Celsius, a temperature range achievable with waste heat from existing industrial facilities. The lower energy cost is a financial and environmental game changer because energy typically accounts for 40 to 60% of operating expenses in chemical recycling. The output oil has a similar energy density and hydrocarbon profile to light sweet crude, enabling it to be co-processed in standard refineries at up to 10-20% blend ratios without retrofitting equipment. The firm plans to scale this pilot to a commercial demonstration plant by Q3, which, in industry terms, is an aggressive timeline. Only about 9% of all plastic ever produced has been recycled, and mechanical recycling rates have plateaued at 14 to 18% in most developed nations because of contamination and polymer degradation. If successful, the firm aims to license the technology globally, and given the rare cross-aisle applause from both industry and environmental advocates, this could represent the most credible breakthrough in plastic recycling since the invention of the PET bottle. The technology is still at pilot scale, producing perhaps a few hundred liters of oil per day, so the Q3 scale-up to a demonstration plant, likely 10-50 tons of plastic input per day, will be the true test. Like they say, plastics makes perfect. Topic 3. Major Gulf Coast natural gas export project receives approval. A Rio Grande Valley natural gas expansion project has been cleared, adding 6.2 million metric tons per year of capacity. The Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, FERC, has officially greenlit the major expansion of next decade's Rio Grande export facility at the port of Brownsville, Texas. This approval expands the project's total planned capacity to over 27 million metric tons per year, enough to supply the annual natural gas needs of approximately 10 million European or Asian homes. This is one of the largest authorizations by the Commission in recent years and signals that despite the 2023 pause on export approvals to non-free trade agreement countries, which was lifted earlier in 2024, major projects with existing permits can proceed through the regulatory maze. Next decade's immediate roadmap involves first production targeted for 2028-2029, contingent on securing long-term offtake agreements with Asian and European buyers desperate to displace Russian pipeline gas. What makes the expansion particularly noteworthy from both a technical and environmental standpoint is next decade's planned incorporation of carbon capture and sequestration (CCS) technology at the facility, a feature that the company argues will reduce the project's greenhouse gas footprint by up to 90% compared to conventional terminals, potentially transforming the Rio Grande complex into one of the lowest emission natural gas export hubs in the world. Project proponents point to an estimated 4,500 to 5,000 construction jobs and $500 million in local tax revenue over the facility's first decade, while some opponents have vowed to challenge the decision in court, citing concerns about dredging impacts on the nearby National Wildlife Refuge and cumulative emissions from tanker traffic. The Commission's approval order explicitly addressed these environmental concerns by mandating enhanced air monitoring stations in low-income neighborhoods adjacent to the port and requiring NextDecade to fund a $10 million mitigation fund for local habitat restoration. Global natural gas markets continue to tighten, with European storage levels dropping below 50% and Asian spot prices hovering above $14 per million BTU for the first time since the 2022 energy crisis. This quiet approval all but ensures that for the next decade, parts of the globe will be downwind of the US's natural gas exports. That about does it. If you found this video informative and entertaining, let me know in the comments or hit the thumbs up. Thank you for your eyes and ears. I appreciate it. To keep your future self informed, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you can stay up to date with me in this industry. As always, I'll keep digging. Until next time, take it easy.